Have you ever wondered if the world you see is really the world as it is, or just the world as your mind allows you to see it? More than 2 centuries ago, a German philosopher dared to challenge everything we thought we knew. His name was Immanuel Kant, and his ideas shook the very foundation of philosophy. Imagine this. You wake up one morning and suddenly realize that your senses, your thoughts, and even your sense of morality might not be showing you the ultimate truth. Scary? Fascinating? Both. That's exactly what Kant wanted us to confront. In today's video, we are going to uncover 10 powerful lessons from Kant, lessons that will change the way you think about knowledge, freedom, and how to live a moral life. But before we dive in, let me ask you, do you believe we are truly free, or are we simply following invisible rules we don't even notice? Hold on to that thought, because Kant has an answer that may surprise you. Lesson 1. The limits of human knowledge. Kant believed that our knowledge is shaped by the structure of the human mind. We don't see reality as it truly is. We only see it as it appears to us, through the lenses of space, time, and cause and effect. This is what he called the difference between phenomena and noumena. Phenomena are the world as we experience it. Noumena are things as they exist in themselves, something we can never fully know. The takeaway: be humble with your knowledge. What you see, what you believe, even what you're certain of, may only be a version of reality, not the ultimate truth. And if our knowledge has limits, then how can we decide what is right and wrong? That brings us to the second lesson. Lesson 2. Morality comes from duty, not desire. For Kant, true morality doesn't come from emotions, feelings, or personal advantage. It comes from duty, doing the right thing because it is right, not because it benefits us. He introduced the famous idea of the categorical imperative: act only on principles that you would want to become universal laws. Imagine this. If you lie to get ahead, what happens if everyone lies? Society collapses. So truth-telling is not just a preference, it's a duty. But if morality is about duty, doesn't that make life restrictive, even harsh? Let's see what Kant says next. Lesson 3. Freedom is self-discipline. Kant turned freedom upside down. He argued that real freedom is not about doing whatever we want. Real freedom means following principles we give to ourselves through reason. In other words, when you act out of duty, guided by reason, you are truly free. Freedom is not the absence of rules. Freedom is living by rules you believe are right, rules that make you master of yourself. And this leads to another important question. If morality depends on reason, can we still find room for faith and hope? Lesson 4. Reason has limits. Faith has a place. In his critique of pure reason, Kant argued that reason can explain a lot, but not everything. Reason cannot prove the existence of God, nor can it disprove it. This doesn't mean faith is useless. Instead, Kant saw faith as a moral necessity. We live as if God exists, as if freedom is real, and as if our actions matter. Because without these beliefs, morality would collapse. The lesson? Use reason boldly, but don't expect it to answer every ultimate question. Some truths must be lived, not just proven. And speaking of morality, Kant had one of the most radical ideas about how we should treat other people. Lesson 5. Treat people as ends, never as means. One of Kant's most humanistic lessons is this: every person has dignity. You must never use someone merely as a tool to achieve your own goals. Each human being is an end in themselves, worthy of respect. Think about this in daily life. In business, don't exploit people just for profit. In relationships, don't manipulate others for personal gain. In society, respect every person's humanity. This principle is as urgent today as it was in the 18th century. Lesson 6. Responsibility means owning your actions. Kant believed that morality only matters if we take full responsibility for our choices. You can't blame circumstances, society, or even your emotions. If you act, you are responsible. Period. This lesson is a challenge. Every choice you make is a reflection of who you are. Excuses may comfort us, but they never free us from responsibility. But responsibility also requires something else: courage, the courage to think for yourself. Lesson 7. Dare to think for yourself. Kant famously described the Enlightenment with the phrase, "dare to know." He said most people prefer to let others think for them, whether it's leaders, traditions, or authority figures. But real growth comes when we break free and use our own reason. The lesson? Don't live on borrowed opinions. Think independently, question boldly, and let your mind be your guide. Still, thinking for yourself is not just about knowledge. It's also about how you live with others. That brings us to his idea of universal hospitality. Lesson 8. The vision of universal hospitality. Kant imagined a world where every human being could be treated as a guest, not a stranger. This was more than kindness. It was a moral vision for peace. He argued that respect, tolerance, and openness to others are not optional. They are duties of justice. The lesson is clear. In a divided world, Kant's call for universal hospitality is more urgent than ever. Treat every person with fairness, regardless of nationality, culture, or background. But what about happiness? Did Kant think morality was the key to happiness, or was it something else entirely? Lesson 9. Happiness is not the goal, but the byproduct. Unlike many philosophers, Kant warned against making happiness the ultimate goal of life. Why? Because happiness is uncertain, subjective, and often beyond our control. Instead, he said, focus on living morally. If you do your duty, happiness may follow. But even if it doesn't, your life still has meaning. The powerful lesson here is that a good life is not about chasing pleasure. It's about building a character worthy of respect. And finally, Kant left us with a reminder of our place in the universe, a vision that is both humbling and inspiring. Lesson 10. The Starry Sky and the Moral Law. Kant ended his critique of practical reason with one of the most poetic lines in philosophy. Two things fill the mind with ever-increasing wonder and awe: the starry sky above me and the moral law within me. The stars remind us of the infinite universe outside us. The moral law reminds us of the infinite responsibility within us. Together, they call us to live with humility, dignity, and awe. The final lesson? Life is vast, mysterious, and bigger than we are. But within that immensity, our moral choices matter more than we imagine. So there we have it. 10 timeless lessons from Kant. From the limits of human knowledge to the starry sky above and the moral law within, his wisdom continues to guide how we think, how we act, and how we live together. We've just explored 10 of the most powerful lessons from Immanuel Kant. Let's quickly recap. Knowledge has limits, but humility gives us strength. Morality comes from duty, not desire. Real freedom is found in self-discipline. Reason has limits, but faith has a place. Every human being deserves respect. We are responsible for our actions. We must dare to think for ourselves. Universal hospitality is the path to peace. Happiness is not the goal, but the byproduct of living morally. And finally, we are called to wonder at the starry sky above and the moral law within. These are not just abstract ideas. They are living lessons, lessons that can guide how you think, how you act, and how you treat the people around you. So now I want to ask you, which of Kant's lessons spoke to you the most? Was it his call for responsibility, his vision of universal respect, or his belief that freedom is found in self-discipline? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if this video gave you something to think about, do me a favor. Hit the like button so more people can discover these ideas. Subscribe to Stories of Hope for more journeys into philosophy, wisdom, and timeless life lessons. And share this video with a friend who loves deep conversations about life. Because as Kant himself reminded us, philosophy isn't just about theories. It's about how we live every single day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.